Tell us a bit about 442. If someone was starting work here today, what would you tell them?
Everybody wants your job. You'll get corrected, you'll get opinions thrown at you. It's been very interesting, the rise of social media, how people react, because they see you as being in a bubble, as not taking any notice of them. So when you do interact with them, they often are stunned by it. There was one example where one of my writers did something unfairly maligning Plymouth Argyle, and it was brought to my attention that a Plymouth Argyle fans forum was foaming about 442. So I just enrolled as a member, explained that it was one bloke's opinion that I didn't agree with, and looking back at it now, it was unfair, and just got into a conversation. I think we got about 6 subscriptions out of that.
So this is like, I suppose, the cutting edge in the way the media is going these days, isn't it? You've got a magazine which has got a certain job to do, and you've got a website and your various presences on Facebook and Twitter and other things, which are obviously quite different. So can you give us an idea about the sort of the difference in approach to being on the magazine and on the website?
With the magazine, you've got a block of information that's coming out that has to be reasonably timeless. It can talk in general terms about whether Liverpool are going to win the title this season, but not in the second half of the season, because that will be answered as the games go on from week to week. You're planning about maybe up to 6 weeks in advance. You're planning features, and that's 6 weeks in advance of the magazine coming out, and then it's on sale for 4 weeks. So you've got a massive block. You've got 10 weeks, which might be 10 fixtures, well, which might be more. It might be 20 fixtures. You really can't plan minutely. On the web, you can be reactive. We do analytical features and roundups from a dozen countries, I think, something like that now, every week. And we also do daily blogs as well. So you can be more analytical, you can be more reactive, and you can be more proactive as well. You can go out there and get things, you can get feedback that you can't get in a magazine.
Is that something that you like, the engagement with the reader and the way they respond to you?
To an extent, yeah. Depends what kind of.
Well, I suppose football fans are not, they're not shy in coming forward if they think that you've got something wrong.
No, not at all, and they'll often bleat loudly about things, and you can try and bite your corner.
What are the readers like? Do you have a kind of picture of a reader, a typical reader, if there can be such a thing?
We have several kinds of readers that we have in mind. As a general rule, it's a lovely rule to have. It's somebody not entirely unlike me, who likes football, has a wide range of interest in football, isn't very tribal about one team, otherwise I'd just be buying a Manchester United magazine or a Chelsea magazine, or just going to those specific sites. Wants to be told the interesting stuff that they can repeat down the pub, or come out as being analytical and clever. Obviously Brazilians play this way, and in a World Cup year it's brilliant. But there are several different types of readers as well. And you have to balance what there are. We've got lots of readers that play football. We've got lots of readers that don't play football at all. We've got readers that are mad on football gear and will buy 3 pairs of boots a year, and blokes that haven't seen the inside of a gym in a very long time.
So do you have kind of categories in mind, and you try and satisfy all those categories, I suppose, in the magazine, but also in what you're producing online?
Yeah, yes. You've got to, really. You can't have one ideal viewer or reader or recipient in mind.
Is there something that the readers want from you? Is there a kind of a general reason for liking 442?
I think it's what we try to provide in 442 as a brand, as both the magazine and the website, is authority. It's not just anybody saying it. We speak to the experts. We are experts, but we also speak to other experts closer to. So if we're doing a story about Real Madrid, we won't just say, they'll probably buy Wayne Rooney. We'll speak to the president if possible. We'll speak to all the people around the club. We've got two regular writers living in Madrid. We've got several in Spain, and we'll get them to speak to the players and all the people around the club. but we'll also do it with a wit and a flair and an energy and a humour.
So I suppose there's a tone of voice, there's a 442 tone of voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And an
Getting that
attitude.
online is quite difficult because online stuff tends to be a lot more flippant and attention grabbing and immediate and urgent, whereas your classic 442 article will be well thought out, a 4-page thesis basically on a narrow subject, but a thesis.
What about social media, Twitter and other things? Are they valuable to you? Do you like using them?
Yeah, I think we've rocketed up to about nearly 9,000 Twitter followers now and about 3,000 Facebook followers. We're quite noisy on Twitter. We push a lot of news stories to it, news stories that we write rather than stuff off the Reuters feed. And all the features we push on there as well, galleries and video updates, that kind of thing, podcasts that we get in now. Yeah, like it's nice to get the feedback. It's easy to see what works in terms of retweets. We occasionally have a laugh with people and have preposterous Friday afternoon conversations about. I think one of them was what would make the best wheels for a biscuit car. It's nothing to do with football, but people will engage on a certain level.
Does it bring a new audience?
It seems to be doing, yeah.
And does it give you ideas for content? Does it help you with the editorial process?
Yeah, people do come to us through Twitter, and if it's a particularly good idea, I'll follow them and start communicating by direct message and that sort of thing. Facebook is less focused, I'd say. There's a lot of very strange people on Facebook. There's a lot of people that like everything. 15 people die in stadium disaster in Ghana. Likes this. How can you like that? It's just a news story. It's a very sad thing. But it's a good way of getting interaction. For instance, it's a World Cup year and there's no official World Cup song, so everybody with Pro Tools is putting out an awful song about England's World Cup campaign. Facebook, I've set up a part of it. If you've got a World Cup song, talk about it here. Not over there.
So you've also on Spotify. How does that work?
We're not really on Spotify. The idea was to set up a Spotify account, which I think I've done, and then to get playlists on there. But it's fairly obtuse. That we are linked to Spotify on the site, but I've not actively done anything with it. We could do Spotify things. We could have. One idea was to ask footballers for their playlist and get those up on Spotify. There'd be a lot of R&B on there.
And I guess that's part of looking at social media and seeing what's becoming popular and just thinking about how you might use it.
Yeah, it's all whatever's working.